welcome to another episode of Anything and Everything with Donna Lisa. I'm your host, Donna Lisa, and today I have Joe Flano as our special guest. He is an industry leader in the barber game, or barber industry, brand ambassador for a couple of brands out there, and he also is part of the Major League Barber brand and trade shows. So before I give away too much, Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. For those who are actually listening in and viewing in on my YouTube channel, who know nothing about you, just because you have such a huge background, you are a barber licensed in 3 states, was a business owner, had your own shop, and now you're getting into all sorts of other things like trade shows, events, and being a brand ambassador for brands. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing now? You're originally from Chicago, correct? And now in Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So originally, like I said, from Chicago to Las Vegas. So basically, I'm a barber by trade. I was once a barber that worked in the shop. I started at the age of 16, worked my way up. Yeah, very early age. When I was in high school, I just had aspirations of being a barber. And, at this particular time, I just wanted to be a barbershop business owner. So I didn't have any, goals set to, I never thought it could be this empowering, right? Being an influencer in the industry.
Right.
Teaching people, there's so many other ways of being an entrepreneur as a barber, right? Not just that barber behind the chair, that barber that just owns the school and the shop. Not knocking those, but I'm just saying I always thought there was something more to it. So I come from that culture. I come from a culture that I've always worked, pretty much for myself. The only job I've ever had was barbering. And then as I was doing that for so many years, from, being in the shop, I know how to sustain the clientele from all ethnicities, and then also open up different shops. So those different shops, just deal with and just do business with all walks of people. That's what got me to where I am today. So again, I never been to college, right? I was supposed to go to the military, but never did that. I'm the only male in my family, literally, that did not go that route. I respect it though, because I think that's where I get a lot of my discipline from. Being around guys like my father and my uncles and cousins and nephews, you know what I mean? I just get all that. I get that self-discipline from that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really have to go. I was able to learn it on the go. So other than that, though, that's what I have, and for now, and now getting into the shows, we throw about 15 to 18 shows a year all over the country. Wow. My biggest one is in Chicago, trade show, I should say, and that happens every January, except for for the COVID year.
Recently, yeah.
Recently. But in the meantime, I'm still doing a lot of different things in the industry as far as consulting, brand building, just showing people that new wave of entrepreneurship.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're right. The barber game has changed so much. I don't know how old you are, but when you were 16, how long ago was this?
Well, I'm 36 now,
okay.
So that was roughly 20 years ago.
You're still a baby compared to me, but now for those who are listening in, Joe and I we caught up offline a couple weeks ago. I was introduced to him, not really introduced, but just he was brought to my attention by my brother, Daryl, who actually was on a podcast recently and is a barber by trade. We both were barbers, and I did not like it as much. And I've seen him, just grow his business over the years, and with social media and everything that wasn't available back then, even when you were 16, I'm sure, it's just so different for barbers getting in the game now. And they definitely can be a lot more successful being independent and not being part of a company, whereas in the past, that's kind of what you wanted to do. You wanted to open up a barber shop and have people work for you. And now you can be a mobile barber and still make just as much or more.
Yeah, I mean, it's so different now. Really, I'll be honest, there's more resources now. Just becoming a successful entrepreneur and barber than it was back then. Back then I can speak for us both on this. We went in there basically, on faith, right? And figuring out, okay, let's go in here, let's figure this thing out. And if we just follow the basics that was taught by the ones that, whether it's a family inheritance or friend inheritance, whether it's a skill that was taught to you in the school or family and friend, if we take those basic steps, we should be all right,
Right.
But nowadays, you got, social media, you got YouTube, you got all these different, pretty much people, influences in a particular industry that you can actually learn from, right? You can pick up a cell phone and make a phone call and say, hey, listen, what do I need to do? What program do I have to join to, or what, or what kind of, plan should I get on to learn these different steps of fitness?
Very cool. So with the trade shows that you are hosting, do you do any locally here in Las Vegas?
So I do one in Las Vegas every April, every spring. I've done one in Vegas. Well, just to rewind that, there is a show. There's a big international beauty show that's here every June. I have Major League Barber and myself, we have participated in that show this would be the 11th year. We have the only barber company in the show with hair education, clipper education, and we also bring the competitions there as well. But then we also do our own Major League Barber trade shows every April. And we do that, on the Las Vegas Strip.
And so with Major League Barber, how did you become a part of that brand, and how did you guys expand into trade shows and events?
So I was introduced to Major League Barber, which are now my partners now, Nuri and Najee. They were based out of Philadelphia. I was introduced to them back in 2003. There was an event in Miami, Florida on South Beach called the Barber Boot Camp. And it's a particular camp. It really wasn't a camp, but it was the name of it. Was pretty cliche, but it was pretty good because it was basically education. You turn everything off. You don't watch any TV. They give you a certain food regimen to follow. It's like a real boot camp, but strictly business. Learn the business of barber. Now, at this particular time, there was no events like this. Again, it goes back to what we said before. There wasn't any platforms out there at this time that people would gravitate towards, right? So at this event, the way I'm explaining it, of all these amazing artists that's there teaching us and educators that are teaching us a lot of different things, there were only 13 people there, right? And Major League Barber was one of the vendors there, and we sold our T-shirts, which is like one of our shirts I got on now. Back in the day, so we started out strictly T-shirt business, doing some cuts at the booth. And how I met them was basically saying, do you want to get to another level? Because the game is going to change in about 10, 12 years. And I'm like, what can change? It's just cutting hair. What can really change? More so on the business side, which they were 100% correct. And they didn't even know that. But because they read up on different books and they educate themselves, they invest in themselves. That's why I'm always preaching about investing in yourself, because that's exactly what I did. Spending money to go to these shows, to be with Major League Barber. I wasn't getting flown out. I wasn't getting wined and down because it just wasn't that movement. It was all about how bad you want it. So let show us, how bad you want it. So that's how I met them, and we just gained a better relationship, business relationship, dating back to then to what it is now. We start doing the beauty shows all over, and then we decided in 2013 or 12, I should say, that we wanted to do our own trade shows. We wanted to, get our own venues, whether they start out in small hotel conference centers, going up to convention centers, and we were all about growth, learning and growth.
Nice. And so I also see you're on one of the newer platforms recently, Clubhouse. Now, do you and a couple of your industry colleagues have a chat room there?
Yeah, there are a few of them. I've actually jumped on a few Clubhouse conversations. I've yet to get on there actually host any of my own, just because of the fact that it's been so busy with stuff. But I do have some colleagues that are on there. I got people that talk about six-figure barbering. I got another gentleman, I just talked to him earlier today. He called himself the Millionaire Barber, which that guy is something else out of Nashville. He tells you how to open up a school, how to become accredited when you open up a school. and he's been real busy. We've been doing all kind of Zooms, since March last year, getting guys involved. And lastly, we have another barber colleague that does a weekly Thursday barber talk event. So it's a lot of us that usually see each other interact at these shows. We jump on the clubhouse. So I'm pretty much like a special guest on these clubhouses for now, until I'm putting together a certain program where I'll be able to do a weekly and daily thing on Clubhouse.
Okay. And is it just going to be focusing mainly on the barber industry, the trade?
Starting out, yes.
Okay.
Right. Starting out, yes. There have been people that I do know that I I have a lot of different friends that have different businesses, like fitness businesses and stuff like that, that have been asking me to do just straight entrepreneurial sessions, which I've been doing them on Zoom, but not on Clubhouse just yet. It's because of the ones I do on Zoom, those are actual paid sessions that I have, and I don't have the program set up forth just as the introductory to Clubhouse yet. So I'm a little, when it comes to stuff like that, I take my time with stuff and things out. Yep.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I've jumped on a couple of the Clubhouse chat rooms, and just to, about entrepreneurship, business, and all that other good stuff. I'm still learning about the platform. I think it's a great platform, but it definitely does take a lot of your time because it's a live platform. It's not something you can just like Instagram or Facebook where you post something and you can go back and people can go back and see it later. If you want to interact with certain people, you've got to be on at the same time. So that's something I'm still kind of trying to get used to, but I like it so far. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely takes a lot of your time. You gotta think. There's a lot of different individuals on there that are powerful influences in any kind of industry, right? And I gotta say what my guy Chin said. When I was in Millionaire Barber, he basically said, you see these guys on here. Clubhouse is it is great because you have guys that you have access to people that you normally wouldn't have access to. Instagram doesn't even give you that type of access to certain people, you know what I mean? So it's a great platform, and you got to think, if somebody's going to be in there, 10, 12 hours a day, something got to be coming in from somewhere. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely, again, that's something that, once you're able to master both those things, then you're good to go. I mean, Instagram has been great. I'll be honest with you. I remember when I first did my first ever live on Facebook and Instagram, and it was amusing to me because I'm like, wow, people actually do this. This is like not the thing. And after I learned, and a lot of people, I found out so many people want to hear me speak, which they're not able to interact with me face to face because I'm never really in one place. I'm always moving around. They appreciate it, and they, that's why I do a lot of live content on Instagram, and my little studio, my little Instagram live studio is getting worked on right now. So that's why this is my big background, y'all. My kitchen background.
It's okay. I had my kitchen in my background when I first started, but it's close to where the stairs are in the house. And I would see some family members coming down when I'm telling them, like, hey, I'm recording a podcast. So I recently just switched it up, and I'm like, let me just make my wall my background right now.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I got mine over here in this room. It's just, I had one before when I was in San Diego.
Okay.
Perfect. I had I probably could be bragging a little bit, but it was like the scenery of downtown. It was beautiful.
Nice.
But, when the sun is shining, it's different. You got to do it at a certain time of day.
Right.
But other than that, though, it was good. And, my thing is, again, these platforms are great for people to learn from because people will go back and they will watch. So that's key if you're trying to get yourself out there more. Obviously with COVID in place, this is what it's been. And the crazy thing is, I've already been in tune with live. Again,
right.
When everything started kicking in, it was like I'm on Zoom. I've never been on Zoom this much in my life.
I feel like we've had to learn to be a lot more tech savvy during the pandemic because everything was so virtual. And you have to learn it. Yeah.
Anybody that wasn't tech savvy, anybody that probably never bought an iPhone, never thought they would buy an iPhone or iPad or anything like that, they bought one. They probably got one for Christmas or something.
Right. So with, speaking of COVID, with that affecting last year in 2020, all your trade shows that were scheduled, did you guys move to virtual trade shows at all?
Yes, we did do virtual trade shows actually. We actually started one in July. So it was called the
Okay.
Original Virtual Trade Show by Major League Barber. We even have an Instagram page for it. And it was pretty good. You know, we had the Clipper companies that sponsor our events. They were on there. They had brought their educators on there. I was on there hosting the competition.
Okay.
So we had like a DJ on there. We had education on there. I think our first one, we had a couple hundred people on there.
Nice.
It was free. We didn't charge anything.
Okay.
For the guys to compete, it was something special. But we did it from July all the way to October, and then we stopped it because we had this focus on, and we were getting word that possibly somewhere in the spring we'll be able to open things back up. So we had to get back to the lab. So again, literally this month last year, the 22nd of February was my last event that I did for 2020. And we meet in Nashville, Tennessee. And then, starting the New Year's was going to start in Nashville in May 2nd. But we knew that we had to adjust. We've always talked about doing online barber competitions and online barber education. We talked about this 7-8 years ago, but we never thought that, wow, the worst time supposedly, or the craziest time ever would approach us, and we would have to actually execute that idea that,
Right.
all the ideas we had on the table, we had to go back to that table and bring the new thing that we've learned and bring some people in to assist us with that. And we executed it. We're still learning. We're actually working on bringing it back this summer.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to be, giving away a lot of cool stuff, and along with the actual shows. And May 2nd, actually, we're going to be doing a live broadcast from our Nashville event. So it's going to be pretty cool. That's, again, it's just we just playing
Right.
with how we like it. Because obviously, a lot of people do want to come back out, but then you also got a lot of people that are, that want to stay home. They want to be safe.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like that you guys have you learned to pivot your, the trade show and become somewhat virtual, and now moving into still, into 2021, and still with the pandemic going on, you guys are looking at doing a hybrid type show where it's in person and virtual as well. So it gives people both options, whether they want to attend or if they want to stay home and just log in virtually, they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. And so I'm just curious with you and like everything that you do right now, what inspires you to do what you do? Leaving the, you're not completely out of the barber, game, but I'm sure you're not cutting hair every day like you used to be. You're more of a motivational speaker, influencer. Where do you get your inspiration from?
I'll be honest with you. Wow, that's like the question I get asked all the time. So basically, with me, where I get my influence is just getting up every day and just wanting to be a better, successful person for the industry. Obviously, again, I haven't been in the shop for quite some time, over literally close to 10 years.
Wow.
And yeah, but I still keep the licenses and stuff like that. So with me, it's almost like I just want to see, I see things growing, right? We look at the cell phone, and the cell phone is changing every day. We're getting new phone, everything's getting these new apps, everything's coming out that's brand new. So I always believe that in a human being, every day we wake up, we can always update ourselves. Right? We can update ourselves to be a better person for ourselves, for our families, for our businesses. We can update ourselves to grow more in our businesses, as far as educating ourselves, reading new books and going to different events, logging on different events in this case, and meeting new people. I love meeting new people. I love building relationships with people and understanding the concept of why the relationship should be important. Why should it be sustained? Because, once a relationship meets somebody, right? Like I met you and thanks Jerel for the introduction. And again, I meet Deron, I'll see him, soon as well one day. And you never know what can come from that, right? You never know. You may see this and say, you know what? I want to build with Don. I would like to meet Don, or I would like to meet Joe, because I tell people, man, it don't matter how long you've been in business. there's always somebody out there that does not know who you are. There's always somebody out there that you can probably change their life or change a little bit of what they know. In this industry in life, period, and vice versa. It goes vice versa. Again, Major League Barber's been around for over 20 years. There's people out there that have been doing barbering and been in the business for over 20 years and never heard of Major League Barber.
Right.
So that's what keeps me going. Meeting new people meeting me, and we can learn new things together. And if we don't learn those things, we can learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like even if you're in a different industry, of course I came from the barber industry years ago, but am completely different industries now, whether it's real estate or special events. I think we can all learn, and like you hit it right on the, right on point, is like relationship building. I think people do trust you more, and they will be willing to work with you when you build that relationship, and you get to know them a little bit more than just like on the professional level. Because they're always I know a lot of people who are always looking to learn a little bit more from people like yourself, who have been in the industry for years and just want to see how you think, pick your brain and how they can expand their portfolio and grow their business is exactly like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's where the consulting comes in. It's been many times where, and I'll be honest, I've given a lot to people. I've done it, never look back, which I'm never going to look back. I'll never say I should have never done that and I would have never done, because there's a lot of great guys in the industry now, a lot of great barbers in the industry that have went on to do a lot of great things. And one thing I will say, they have built their own platforms. And one thing they always say when they're doing their own event or own class, they always say, hey, if it wasn't for Major League Barber, X, Y, and Z. It wasn't for them that showed me, introduced me, such and such. And, I never asked anybody to do that. It's almost like when I step on a room and, I MC, so I'm at different events. So, the person that's holding the event, they usually bring me to come host it with them or whatever the case may be, consultant, whatever. And what happens is, man, the respect is, you don't have to take the respect from people, right? People know. And even if they don't say it, they know it. And I tell people that all the time, you can see it not just in what they say or hear what they say, you can see it when they're building up a business. Oh, you know what? That's familiar. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even say that to that person. I would just say, you know what? Good job.
Right.
Keep it work. You know what I'm saying? And as long as we keep that relationship, I can keep them in tune of what's going on. And, a lot of these guys, they always say, I want to start my own brand. I want to do my own trade show. Cool, you can do it. But Joe, listen, I need you. How can you help me? How can you consult me with this? And I know your time is. So I appreciate that. So again, as long as we got that, even if Major League Barber is not around anymore, those people that still have that love and that passion that we hopefully we've instilled in them, they keep that going.
Nice. So do you have plans how do you actually plan to grow your business in Las Vegas? Or are you just focusing more nationally because you have trade shows all over the country?
To be honest with you, I'm looking to, what I love about Vegas is, coming from Chicago, and I love Chicago. That's my heart. That's my roots right there. I've done a lot in Chicago from not just events, but just building with the people. I see Vegas as a young city that is still growing. I love the potential that I see here. And, as far as Major League Barber, we built up the East Coast. We're still keeping the foundation strong. The South, we're keeping it strong. The Midwest, very strong, of course. But the West Coast, we want to, we've been coming to the West Coast for a long time now. And we still think that when it comes to Major League Barber on the West Coast, we still believe that the job is nowhere near finished. Nowhere in the foundation, nowhere near strong. So what we have to do is we have to build on that foundation. And we have to do it different than what we did on the East or the Midwest or the South. West Coast is a different vibe.
Right.
It's a different kind of people. It's not cut from the same cloth as the other different coasts and cities. It's special. And I take Chicago personal, but West Coast has been like my second like my second home. You know, I love palm trees. That's what drove me out there. You know, going to San Diego, coming here. You know, I see potential, and I see the people need those resources that we've created out east when it comes to these type of events. And there's people there's influencers out in the West Coast that do their thing with the barber events, but you know, I'm saying it very humbly. You know, it's not a major league barber. You know, it's not with a major league barber attitude. It's not with a major league barber concept. So, but again, we come to these cities to build with the ones that's already been building in the city. And if we can't help expand their brand better, so we all can grow and learn from each other, like I said earlier, then we're just wasting each other's time.
I like that. I like that you guys, you know, recognize business is different in different cities. So, of course, you're right. The West Coast is very different from the Midwest and the East Coast. So learning, you know, a little bit more about the West Coast and how you guys want to grow it, I'm sure it'll do well for you guys because you're studying, you know, different barber professionals all over the world. So awesome. Well, good luck to you guys on that. I have one more question before we go, and I ask all my guests this. Is there a daily affirmation or a quote that you like to start your day off with?
When I wake up in the morning, I say, do what you love and be you.
Nice.
That's what I say. Do what you love and be you. You know, and that could be many things. You can get up in the morning and just exercise for today. That's cool. Make sure you still be you. You know, if you get up in the morning and you want to go for a ride around the block on your bike, or you drive around the city on your car just to think and meditate and get yourself right playing your music, that's cool. Just make sure you still being you. You know,
awesome.
So anything that you put your mind to that you want to do each and every day you wake up, just make sure at the end of the day, yes, you want this, you want that, you want to help this person, help that person, but make sure at the end of the day you still be you, you're taking care of you.
Yeah, be genuine and authentic. I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy weekend to do this podcast with me. I think I've learned a lot more about, you know, you and your brand and what you're all about. So I'm excited that you guys, I did see on your Instagram feed, you have your, the Nashville trade show coming up. So I'm excited for you guys to host that. I know Vegas is still slowly opening up. We're hoping by May, you know, we'll be a little bit more open up than we are now. But I know cities like Nashville, other cities are a little bit more open. So good luck to you guys. I think you'll have a great turnout because everybody, you know, most people are anxious to get out there right now and be in person. Yeah, they
are. They definitely are. We've been getting a lot of people that want to just travel in from all over. Obviously, there's a capacity limit and stuff like that, but we're going to be, you know, obviously practicing the COVID-19 protocol and everything like that. So we're going to keep it.
Good.
It's going to look a little. I will tell people it's going to look a little different. It's going to look a little different, which I'm glad because, you know, change is good. You know, and
right.
that builds more awareness for everybody that's going to be attending because safety is number one. And you know, again, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing certain people there, whether a mask on, mask off. You know,
right.
but you gotta have that mask on. I'm sorry, guys. But no, most definitely, I appreciate you inviting me to the podcast, and I got to get you. You know, we do our weekly Major League Mondays. I got to get you on one of our Major League Mondays.
I know. I saw that. Yeah, I'd love to be a guest. You know, whenever, just reach out. Again, like, I mean, I do want to thank you because I reached out to a lot of people who I don't personally know on social media just to see if I can get extra guests on the show. And you didn't know anything about me, but you responded to my message. And I didn't want to have to do the name drop and go, hey, you know, you had my brother on your live, but I did. But my brother did say, it's like, you know what, I think this guy would be great for your podcast because, you know, my podcast is basically anything and everything about business in different industries. So thanks. You know, it's people like you who make it easier for me to do my job and actually get everybody to be exposed to what you do.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. I mean, that again, you know, I'm like we said earlier, you know, I like what keeps me going is keeping everybody else going, right?
Yeah.
And to the best degree that I can. And you know, again, if we can't do that, you know, then you know, hopefully that goes forward everybody else, anybody that sees us, you know.
Yeah.
I invite any of you guys. You know, if you see somebody that is at least trying and making an effort, you know, help push them. Give them that little forearm push.
Yeah,
you know?
there you go. I like that.
Like that
Awesome.
little
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Joe. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll definitely, circle back again. I always ask my guests to come on in like maybe 6 to 8 months. So I'll definitely circle back with you and see if I can have you on the show again.
Okay, for sure, Donna.
Awesome. All right. Have a good day. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.